Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, Brian McWilliams, where we're going to be making some jokes, laughing out at broken world, but also laying out the philosophy for the future, how we can fix this mess we're in and have a great time doing it all with the Mean Age Daydream. What is up, my little Christmas miracles? Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Doing it a little late, doing this on Thursday. Who knows if anybody's going to listen? Who knows if anybody's going to watch? Because, of course, you all are still out in your revelry, as am I. Kids are home and off school for another 5 days. And I've got holiday plans galore. But we are here. We must maintain the decorum here at Mean Age Daydream. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm feeling a little rough today. A little rough around the edges. Probably don't look the best. I had stayed up last night because it was Christmas, and I said, you know what? There's still a couple movies that I love. I got to bang out here. Even though my wife is tired, went to bed, I was like, all right, I'm staying up. I'm going to watch A Christmas Story, which is my favorite movie still. Hilarious all the way through. And I'm sitting there, I'm drinking my whiskey. I think I had a martini. And one of the most underrated parts of A Christmas Story is just how obviously hungover the dad is on Christmas. You got to love it. Rolls out of bed, drinking a glass of wine in the bathrobe, just sitting there rubbing his hangover away, trying to drink it right. God bless that movie. So I was watching that and then a little White Christmas last night. So I was up a little too late, had a few too many drinks, appreciating the end of the Christmas season. And here I am today feeling like garbage. But regardless, I thought it would be fun today to do a little ode to A Christmas Story. I'm sorry, not A Christmas Story, Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol. And, you know, it's going to be a short show. Like I said, I don't know who's listening or who's watching at this time of year, but I thought it'd be fun to reimagine it and say, like, who would play the characters? Who would play the roles in A Christmas Carol if we subbed in Libertarians? So we're going to get to that. We'll finish the show up with that. But before we do, some news came out, and yes, Biden signed like 50 bills. I think next show I'm going to go through those, you know, true scumbag fashion. You got to love when they drop 50 bills on people on Christmas when they know people aren't going to look at them. So, you know, there's some real turds that they slid in there. But I'm going to go through those bills most likely next show. This show, I wanted to talk about Donald Trump tweeting about the governor of Canada, Justin Trudeau, which is funny. Give him credit. It's funny. Basically saying that Canada is the 51st state and that, you know, essentially we already own them. And Donald Trump talking about getting the Panama Canal back and also Greenland. Now, on its surface, America's already bankrupt. And let me say, I am furious that Donald Trump is talking about removing the debt ceiling. That's ridiculous, insanity. But at the same time, we're going to buy Greenland from Denmark. The Kingdom of Denmark owns Greenland, by the way. They already, you know, Greenland's prime minister's like, we're not for sale, we're free. Oh, well, if you don't own yourself, I guess you could be for sale, just to be fair. But at the same time, we're like $36 trillion in debt. We shouldn't be buying anything unless Greenland is literally, you know, sitting on top of a mountain of gold where we can get off the fiat currency standard and back on the gold standard because these greenies have been hoarding gold like, you know, like Smog in The Hobbit. Then what the fuck are we talking about? So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is Trump on about? But at the same time, I give Trump credit because what ends up happening, right? Trump goes on about these tariffs, and I hate tariffs, as you all know. I think they're ridiculous. But Trump goes on about these tariffs, and look, people come to the table. Mexico starts saying we're going to crack down on fentanyl and all this other stuff coming across the border because of this tariff threat. Canada, you know, the same thing. They're coming to the table because of the tariff threat. Well, Greenland, when Donald Trump is saying we need them, there's, you know, this is a security issue for us. Guess what happens? Greenland announced a massive increase in their military and defense budget. So while I can't stand this nonsense about buying Greenland, there is a method to the madness here. Like, I have to give the man credit. Clearly, this is his tactic. We've seen it before. He likes to go with these big, broad statements to make people then come to the table and give him what he really wants. For Greenland, maybe that is simply the increase in spending. I mean, Trump went on about NATO having to pay their dues, right? How these countries need to pay their fair share. Granted, we shouldn't be in NATO, but still, if we're going to maintain that relationship, they have to pay. The American taxpayer shouldn't be getting bent over a barrel every time to pay for NATO's funding. For all these different countries to have our missiles and have their weaponry and have all this stuff, and we're paying for all of it. Well, this is an example of how it has actually worked. You got to give them some credit for that. But still, it is very annoying. At the same time, I do appreciate the hilarity. I mean, there's Donald Trump's the most entertaining president of my lifetime by far. He tweeted out a video of himself, his little goofy Trump dance. He has a video, so he put together a gif of Trump doing his little dance, but he put them in a sleigh. So he's Santa Claus pulling the reins of the sled, doing his doofy Trump dance. What can I say? We don't deserve him. Is it beneath the president to do that? Well, maybe so. Maybe so. But damn, is it entertaining for me, somebody who does not take the president seriously because they have far too much power. I know they're all jerk-offs anyway, war criminals. Everyone should be in jail. So I'm going to laugh my ass off at it. The president does not represent me. And no president will represent me because I'm an individual and I don't believe in this collectivist bullshit. And I also don't think that the president defines who I am as an American, nor a person, nor represents me to the broader universe of people. And I hope other people can come around to that. I thought maybe Donald Trump would do that the first time, but then all these fucking assholes who hated Trump went and worshiped at the altar of Joe Biden and identified with Joe Biden and said he's the greatest president. Oh my God, thank God we're back to a president who represents me as an American. Shut the fuck up. Idiots. Collectivist idiots. Okay, so let's move on. Like I said, this will be a very short show. And I'd love to see, if you're watching this on Twitter, I'd love to hear what other people think about the fits for these characters. So in A Christmas Carol, let me check my notes here. Here's what I've gotten written down. Elon Musk comes across as Scrooge, right? He's your Ebenezer Scrooge, because Elon Musk's character arc has been interesting to watch, right? Not that I don't know if Elon Musk was ever a miser. I don't really know how he ran his companies. I will say he is a hard worker. He would sleep in his office. I mean, my wife did work for SpaceX with furniture, and Elon Musk, they'd go in because he needed, some reconfigurations of his office space. The guy's literally sleeping under his desk. I mean, that's how dedicated he is. So, I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of Scroogey. Scrooge made his bookkeepers stay and work all the time. SpaceX, I think, has that culture. People are just sleeping there, working. They're dedicated to the craft. So I'm like, okay, there we go. It's a little Scrooge vibe. He's super rich. Wonderful. There we go. He's our Scrooge there. And then the trajectory of an Elon Musk is a bit Scrooge-esque as well, in that he has all this money and then realizes, you know what? I have to be bettering mankind. I'm going to get us to Mars. And in one of the most epic moves for free speech, for free dialogue, well, free with restrictions, but freer than it was, and also in communicating the ideals of liberty and frankly, pushing back against the woke mafia, the purchasing of Twitter and making it into X. Ebenezer Scrooge, he gave some geese out to the poor, right? Okay, lovely. Elon Musk buying Twitter is one of the most epic moves that we've ever seen, one of the most impactful moves we've ever seen. It'll go down in history as one of the, I think, main bulwarks against the online, Nazism that was these governments and censorship and removing content and doctoring the narrative. So that's your Scrooge right there. Right? He went through the evolution of a miser into a man of and for the people. And now we'll see what happens with the Department of Government Efficiency. But would you rather have a former miser, a businessman making your government efficient? I say yes. So who's your Bob Cratchit? Well, every American, right? Every American is Bob Cratchit, just wanting to work, keep some money, feed their family, making it harder and harder out there every day. So all of us are Bob Cratchit. And then I'm thinking, okay, so who's a good Marley and Marley, right? Who would come? Let's get into the ghosts here. Who's coming on Scrooge Musk's doorstep? Who's coming at midnight to warn him that the ghosts are coming? Well, I thought, okay, Marley and Marley, we've got who are two shitbags who would be punished and should be punished for the rest of eternity. Well, Elon Musk, you know, his companies, Tesla and SpaceX here in California. Now, supposedly he's going to be moving them, but they're still here as of now. So he definitely had somebody, let's say, former business partners, like, for example, Gavin Newsom. Because Gavin Newsom made a deal with Elon Musk to give him these tax breaks to keep Tesla's companies here and factories here. I'm sure SpaceX, the same thing. So you're making deals with these business partners that are pieces of human garbage. Well, there's your Gavin Newsom. That's Marley number one, baby. And then how about Kamala Harris, right? Senator, former senator of California, and rumored to be running for governor of California in another year and a half. So there's your other Marley. Chain those fuckers to the money boxes that they steal from. Chain them to the woke ideology they worship at. Chain them to these stupid bills they pass to try to take kids away from their parents if they don't respect their pronouns. Chain them to all that shit. Chain them to all the bills, all the idiotic bills they pass. Instead of the money boxes that weighed down Marley, chain them to the regulatory environment. Chain Gavin Newsom to the stupid regulations that have driven Chevron, the biggest employer of the state, out. And keep them there forever. There's your Marley. So they can come to Scroogey Musk and say, oh, don't be like us. And he's like, I don't want to be like you. You're already assholes. There you go. All right, moving on. The Ghost of Christmas Past. Who do you think the Ghost of Christmas Past is? Well, I got to go with none other than Ron Paul. Ron Paul is the Ghost of Christmas Past because Ron Paul has for decades been there, number one. So, I mean, you think of the past and libertarianism, Ron Paul is the past of libertarianism for me. He brought me into the movement. He stood strong. He educated me and the population. And also, what did the Ghost of Christmas Past do? Let me get a sip of water here. That was a little scratchy. The Ghost of Christmas Past, right, takes you back to show you how good things could have been, right? Here's how the world was. Now, for Elon Musk, of course, I'm not saying Musk is going to be a personal thing, but for our country, Ron Paul can take us back and point to the time before we had the income tax. Before we had the Federal fucking Reserve, before we had runaway military spending, right? That's the Ghost of Christmas Past point. And that's what Ron Paul, Dr. Ron Paul, did for us all the time. He always had a fantastic historical context for showing us how fucked things were going to be inevitably as we rolled out the biggest power of the Fed, as we engaged with all of these foreign entanglements, as we engage with, again, AIPAC, for instance, impacting our lobbyists because we're so involved in the Middle East. Ron Paul is the perfect Ghost of Christmas Past to educate, to illustrate, and to illuminate just what wonderful things the world was full of before the government fucked it up. All right, what about the Ghost of Christmas Present? Well, I can't think of anybody better for the Ghost of Christmas Present than Thomas Massie. Yes, Thomas Massie, one of the most strident voices for liberty in our present time. I was tempted to go with Rand Paul because Rand Paul has also released his Festivus list today, which I haven't gotten to look over yet. So I thought, okay, Ron, but let's go with some Thomas Massie because Thomas Massie is putting out effective bills like the Prime Act. He's fighting to end the Fed. He's fighting to expose the government and the lies that were told during COVID, during all of the pork barrel spending and this bullshit bill they're trying to force through. Thomas Massie continuously stands up against the government, stands up against the establishment nonsense, and really, I mean, you talk about a guy that has stood out there and in congressional hearings, just been a beacon of light, exposing the shadow demons that are lurking out there. He's perfect. He might not be fat and jolly, right? I mean, Thomas Massie, he's not the fattest guy, but he is pretty tall, I think. And he's got those big red rosy cheeks. And he obviously likes to eat a lot of meat. So there is your Ghost of Christmas Present. Thomas Massie just can walk out Ebenezer Musk around the halls of Congress, expose this man to what's what. And as we know, I was rooting for Thomas Massie to become our Secretary of Agriculture. Didn't happen, but still, he is a potent voice. And let's not forget, Thomas Massie was the Ghost of Christmas Present when they did all the COVID bailout bullshit spending bills, saying this will go down as the biggest mistake in our country's history. Well, one of them. The other one's probably being the world wars, but I digress. So, moving on. Who is our ghost of Christmas future? And I'm going to end the episode after doing this rant. Like I said, very short. But thank you all for watching, those of you who are watching and tuning in. 15 minutes is more than enough time, I think, to talk about liberty during this toddly season. So the ghost of Christmas future, right? To show you, well, here's the future that could lie ahead. Well, how about Javier Milei? I think he'd be a very interesting ghost of Christmas future because he can take you into what the future would look like for America, having come from the present in Venezuela, right? Because America is on the Venezuela path. The more spending we do, the more entanglements we're in, the more freedom that we restrict, the more regulations that we place on the people. And, let's not forget Kamala Harris, Marley Kamala Harris, had floated out basically price controls, one of the things that completely destroyed Venezuela's economy and made bread impossible for the average person to buy, let alone water. The military had to control the water supply because they had completely fucked it up. So Javier Milei is your ghost of Christmas future, taking Ebenezer Musk and showing him what America would look like under socialism, under rampant spending, under rampant regulatory environment, and showing you that this is the path that we would be on. If you don't change your ways, if you don't figure out how to get America on the path for liberty. And he shows him, and he takes him, and Elon Musk says, oh my God, tell me isn't so. He gets down on his knees, and there's a giant grave shaped like the United States, and it says, here lies the USA. Oh my God, he has the realization moment. And he comes back and he says, God damn it, I got to start sharing the ideas of liberty. I got to start tweeting out stuff about Rothbard. I got to start tweeting stuff from Mises. I got to start telling the world that the Federal Reserve is evil. I got to start telling everybody about the evils of giant government. And damn it, I got to do something. You boy, go buy me the biggest Christmas goose, which is X. Bring it back here. So there you go. You got your whole trajectory for Ebenezer Musk. I don't know. I thought it was a fun little exercise. A good Christmas time. So if you guys have different opinions, please tweet them at me. I'd love to see your lists. You can follow me at Brian McWilliams on X. Let me know if you have different ghosts, different Marleys, different Scrooges. I think that'd be fun. It's fun little thing to do as you're sitting on the shitter, crapping out your eggnog and prime rib. And otherwise, guys, thank you for sticking with us throughout the years. Genuinely, I really appreciate it. My Christmas wish is that you would continue on along the path of liberty with us. We really do appreciate it. We'll see. Odie and I are talking. We'll see if there's any big announcements coming around the bend. Don't want to talk about them just yet, but hit that subscribe button. Patreon.com/Lions of Liberty if you want to throw us some ducats, or lionsofliberty.locals.com. Otherwise, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, everybody. I'm trying to think. Will I record an episode before then? I don't know. Actually, I think this is the exact same fucked up shit. New Year's Day is the same goddamn day that this podcast would normally come out. So I might be doing the same thing next week. I don't even know. We'll see. All right, that's it. From me, Brian McWilliams, from Ebenezer Musk, and from the Lions of Liberty, keep those electric eyes on me, babe, and keep that ray gun to my head.